The forgotten shadow of the galaxy was quiet, too quiet, as if the stars themselves held their breath on the edge of forgotten space, where old maps showed nothing but dust and silence. A small alien scoutship drifted carefully, its crew uneasy. For weeks they had been chasing a strange signal, faint and broken, something too old to be natural, yet too sharp to ignore. "Captain, the signal is growing stronger," one of the officers whispered, his hands shaking over. The console, the captain, a scaled creature of the Valari, narrowed his eyes. "Increase scans, but keep our engines ready." "I don't like this." The crew nodded, but their faces showed fear. Legends had long warned of this region, stories of battles fought centuries ago. Battles where humanity unleashed weapons so powerful they broke empires. The galaxy had not seen humans in force for hundreds of years. Most believed humanity had burned out, vanished into its own wars, leaving behind only ruins and myths. But in the cold emptiness, something stirred. The scout ship moved deeper, its lights catching on broken metal drifting in the void, old wrecks, pieces of fleets long forgotten. The crew whispered to each other, ships destroyed by time, battles erased from history. Then the signal pulsed again, louder now, steady, like a heartbeat. "Captain, it's coming from ahead." "Dead center," the officer said, his voice tight. The captain leaned forward, his scaled fingers gripping the chair. "Put it on the main screen." The black of space shifted, and there it was. At first, it looked like a mountain, dark and still, hidden in shadow. Then the details formed, armor plates scarred, guns silent but massive, a shape too big, too dangerous, too human. A warship, not just any warship, but the warship. The Valari captain's blood turned cold, his mouth dry. Every academy in the galaxy taught about it. Every ruler feared the old stories. Humanity's lost dreadnought, the ship that erased fleets, the ship that turned wars in minutes. It was supposed to be gone, destroyed, lost to history. But here it was, drifting, waiting. The scout ship's alarm screamed as the dreadnought systems flickered to life. First one light, then another. Across its endless hull, like eyes opening after a long sleep, the alien crew panicked, shouting over each other. "Is it active? Run the engines. Get us out of here." The captain froze, his body trembling. "No, wait. If we move, it will see us as a threat." But deep inside, he knew the truth. This was no ordinary machine. This was the ghost of humanity's. Rage on the screen. The dreadnought shifted, only slightly, but the motion was enough to silence the entire scout crew. The giant was waking. Its hull glowed faintly, ancient human markings appearing through the dust of centuries, words the Valari. Captain could not read, but he recognized the meaning. Earth. The ship's core hummed, a sound like thunder through the void, shaking the scout ship as if the stars themselves bent in fear. One by one, massive cannons turned, not firing, but alive again. The dreadnought was not a ruin, not a wreck. It was waiting. Send a message. The captain barked, his voice cracking. "Warn the council. Tell them the humans have returned." The officer's claws tapped desperately at the console, sending the signal into the galaxy, but the captain could not tear his eyes away from the screen. The dreadnought's engines lit, slow at first, then brighter. Its shadow stretched across the stars, drowning the scout ship in darkness. For a moment, it felt like the galaxy itself had grown smaller, weaker, as if all power belonged to this one ship, this ghost of Earth. The crew sat frozen, whispering prayers. The captain's heart pounded as the dreadnought's sensors locked onto them. A single sound filled the comms, low, metallic, yet clear, awaiting orders. The Valari captain's scales bristled, his chest tight. Orders? From who? He whispered, but no one answered. The dreadnought loomed over them, silent again, waiting, its massive hull swallowing the stars. The captain finally tore his gaze away, whispering to his crew, "Mark this place, record everything. The galaxy must know. Humanity's shadow has returned." But in his heart, he feared it was already too late. The warship had not woken by accident. It had chosen to wake, and now the galaxy would tremble. Asterisk whispers across the stars. The signal. Spread faster than light, faster than hope, faster than fear. From the edge of dead space, across trade lanes, through hidden relays. The message carried one truth. The human warship has returned. At first, many dismissed it as rumor, a ghost story, another lie born from ancient fear. But when 3 different scout ships confirmed the same image, a massive human dreadnought, drifting alive, the whispers turned into storms. In the halls of the Galactic Council, leaders shouted over each other, their voices sharp with panic. "The humans are extinct," one argued, his tentacles shaking. "This is a trick." "Extinct?" "Then explain the ship that stares at our fleets." Another spat back, wings trembling. "They built only one, and it was destroyed," a third insisted, but no one believed it anymore. The dreadnought had been seen, and its shadow fell across every star. On distant worlds, children cried as parents hushed them with the old tailies. The stories were never meant to be real. They spoke of humans, small, fragile, but fierce, a species that bent war into fire, and their greatest weapon, a ship so powerful that whole armadas vanished under its guns. Now, that same ghost floated again, and the galaxy could not sleep. In dark war rooms, admirals studied the reports. Maps lit up with red warnings. Fleets were pulled back, orders reinforced, yet none of it felt enough, because no fleet was ever enough when facing the warship. The archives proved it. Every empire that fought humanity lost more than it gained. The dreadnought erased enemies not by numbers, but by terror, by the truth that no one could match the will of Earth. But Earth itself was silent for centuries. Humanity had been quiet, absent. Some believed humans destroyed themselves. Others believed they went deeper into the stars, somewhere unreachable. But the return of the dreadnought changed everything. If the ship lived, then maybe humanity lived too. Across the outer colonies, smugglers, miners, and wanderers spoke in hushed voices. "I heard it moved," one whispered in a smoky bar. "No, it's waiting for command," another answered. "Waiting for humans to return." What if the humans never died? A third said, his voice trembling. Every corner of the galaxy carried the same fear. The dreadnought was not a dead relic. It was patient. Then, something more terrifying happened. A coalition fleet was sent to investigate. 30 ships of mixed empires, armed and ready, approached the shadow of the dreadnought. The galaxy watched the transmissions with wide eyes, billions tuned to the live stream. The massive human ship did not fire. It simply turned, slow, deliberate, its black armor gleaming against starlight. Every alien officer on the fleet reported the same thing, the feeling of being hunted. Communications officers tried endlessly. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself," they pleaded, but only static answered, until suddenly the dreadnought spoke, its voice cold, mechanical, yet filled with weight. "Awaiting orders from Earth." Words struck harder than any weapon. The council chamber fell silent, every empire shaken. If the ship was waiting for orders, then who would give them? If humanity still lived, then where were they? The fleet commander of the coalition trembled as he gave his report. No hostile action taken, but its weapons are live, its targeting systems locked on us. We cannot move closer. The council erupted again. "Destroy it now." "No, are you insane?" "If you fire, it will wipe us all." This is proof that humans never truly left. Meanwhile, on remote listening posts, more signals leaked from the dreadnought. Not words, but codes, long and broken. Scientists tried to translate them, their faces pale with every fragment. Old Earth command codes, written in languages dead for centuries, but still alive inside the ship. The dreadnought was not drifting by chance. It was searching, calling, waiting for Earth. Entire empires began preparing for war. Armies drilled. Fleets repositioned. Worlds fortified. Yet fear spread faster than courage, because the galaxy remembered. Every empire that challenged humanity once thought itself strong, until it faced human steel and human fire. And every empire broke. The whispers became one. Loud truth. The galaxy trembled, not because the dreadnought fired a shot, but because it had not. It was alive, watching, waiting, and if it moved, the stars themselves might fall. Asterisk. The first encounter the coalition fleet hung in silence, 30 ships standing against one. Yet every captain knew the truth numbers meant nothing against that. The human dreadnought drifted slowly, like a predator conserving strength. It's vast, hull glimmering with lights that had slept for centuries. Every gun, every cannon, every missile bay gleamed alive, though none yet fired. On the bridge of the flagship, Commander Rahl gripped the railing with trembling claws. He had fought many wars, but never had he felt this weight pressing on his chest. This ship, it is not just a weapon, he whispered. It is a warning. Around him, officers spoke in panicked voices. Should we fire? Should we retreat? Should we hail it again? Rahl finally spoke, his voice hollow. Open cones, send one last attempt. The communications officer adjusted controls, and across the void, a message was sent. Unknown vessel, this is the Coalition Peace Fleet. State your purpose. For long moments, only static answered. The silence grew heavier, filling every ship, every bridge, until even the bravest officers lowered their eyes. Then it came, a voice deep and metallic, vibrating through every hull, awaiting orders from Earth. The words froze every soul. One phrase, repeated like an unbreakable chain. It did not acknowledge the coalition. It did not see them. It only waited. Rahl's second officer hissed, "It is playing with us, testing us." "No?" Rahl muttered, eyes locked on the dreadnought's shape. "This ship is loyal to ghosts." Suddenly, alarms blared across the fleet. The dreadnought's sensors locked on all 30 ships at once. Targeting lines appeared across their systems, perfect, merciless. Every captain felt their throat tighten one command, and they would be ash in the void. But still, the warship did not fire. Instead, a soft hum echoed, as if the giant was stretching its limbs. From deep within, an ancient bay door creaked open, releasing a cloud of frozen debris. And then something moved inside. On the coalition flagship, screens magnified the sight. Cryopods, broken and drifting old human designs. The officers gasped. "Are those bodies?" Rahl's claws dug into the railing. "Survivors," he whispered. "Or what remains of them?" Some pods were shattered, corpses long frozen and preserved, but others still glowed faintly, systems flickering as if life still clung to them. The dreadnought was not empty. It carried ghosts, and maybe the last living humans. The coalition fleet erupted in arguments. "Recover them." "No, it's a trap." "If there are humans alive, they will command the ship." That last sentence silenced them all. The dreadnought's voice came again, deeper this time. "Orders. Required." It was not asking them. It was searching for someone else. Someone who was not there, and the galaxy held its breath. Commander Rahl felt sweat drip down his scaled neck. His instincts screamed to flee, yet duty chained him to his post. He knew history. When humans fought, they fought to the end. No surrender, no compromise. And this ship was their heart made into steel. "Pull back," Rahl ordered at last. "Do not fire. Do not provoke it." His officers looked at him with fear. "But Commander, what if it follows?" "Then the galaxy will burn," Rahl answered coldly. "And we will be the first flames." The fleet slowly shifted, engines flaring. The dreadnought did not chase, it only watched, its weapons tracking every movement. It allowed them to leave, as if granting mercy, but in that mercy lay the greatest terror across the galaxy. Reports spread like fire. The dreadnought was not only alive, it carried humans still frozen within. If even one survived, the galaxy's worst nightmare would come true. Earth would rise again, and the ship would have its master once more. In secret chambers, alien leaders argued in whispers. Destroy it before they wake. Impossible. No weapon can touch it. Then pray the humans remain frozen. But prayers meant nothing against time, and time belonged to the warship. For deep inside its core, machines stirred, monitoring the cryopods. A single pod flickered brighter, stronger. A heartbeat, weak but steady, echoed in the darkness. One human, still alive, one commander, waiting to open his eyes. And as the dreadnought drifted, guarding its frozen crew, it spoke once more, this time. The galaxy heard it not with ears, but with dread in their souls. Humanity returns. Asterisk the awakening, deep inside the dreadnought, behind walls of steel thicker than city towers. The cryo chamber stirred. The air was cold, filled with mist from ancient machines that had not failed in centuries. Rows of cryopods stood like silent coffins, most dark and broken, but a few still glowed faintly. Inside one, a human's chest rose and fell. Weak but alive, the ship's AI spoke softly, its voice echoing through the chamber. Vital signs detected, awakening sequence initiated, lights brightened, systems powered. The hum of the dreadnought grew louder, as if the ship itself rejoiced. For the first time in hundreds of years, one of its masters was waking. The pod hissed as steam poured out. Inside, Captain Elias Wren's eyes twitched, his skin pale, his body stiff from frozen time. The machines fed him air, warmth, and strength, dragging him back from the edge of death. His fingers twitched, his chest heaved, and slowly, painfully, his eyes opened. Blinding light filled his vision. Memories crashed into his mind. War, fire, screams of fleets falling, the last stand of Earth's defenders. He remembered the moment his crew ordered the pods sealed, their final hope to wait for Earth's call. And now, centuries later, the call had come. The AI's voice spoke again, steady and loyal. Welcome back, Captain Elias Wren. Awaiting orders. His dry lips cracked as he whispered, "How long?" Time elapsed, the AI answered. 312 years, 4 months, 11 days. Elias's breath caught in his throat. 3 centuries. He staggered out of the pod, his legs weak, but his will stronger than steel. The chamber was half empty, many pods shattered, his crew gone to time, but a handful still glowed faintly. Others still alive, waiting for their turn. Elias pressed a trembling hand against the nearest pod, whispering, "Hold on, my friends, we are not finished yet." Across the galaxy, sensors flared. The dreadnought's power surged as its captain linked back into command. Shields rose, weapons hummed, reactors glowed brighter than stars. The ship was no longer drifting aimlessly. It had purpose again. On distant fleets, alien officers panicked as new readings came in. Energy spiked massive levels. It's awake. The warship is fully awake. Whispers turned into shouts across the galaxy. The ghost had a master once more. Inside the control chamber, Elias stumbled to the captain's chair. The AI lowered. Controls for him, systems adjusting to his weakened state. Old displays flickered alive, showing maps, enemies, allies, all changed, all alien. But one thing was the same: the galaxy still feared the dreadnought. Elias spoke slowly, his voice growing stronger. "Status: ship integrity 97%, the AI replied. "Weapons operational, shields active, cryo-survivors stable." He gritted his teeth, nodding. "And Earth?" The AI fell silent. No confirmed signals detected from Earth. His heart sank, but his jaw tightened. If Earth was silent, then it was his duty to speak for it. Send a message, Elias commanded. Let them know humanity still breathes. The AI obeyed, broadcasting a signal across the stars. A single phrase carried into every comm system, every relay, every council chamber. Earth lives, humanity endures. The galaxy froze. Every world, every empire, every leader heard the words. Not a ghost, not a machine, but a living human declaring it. And in that moment, the galaxy trembled more than ever before. On the bridge, Elias closed his eyes. His voice filled with steel. Prepare the ship. We are not here to hide. We are here to remind them who we are. The AI's voice echoed with almost human pride. As you command, Captain. The dreadnought's massive cannons shifted, pointing toward the nearest moon. Energy built, humming louder, until the stars themselves seemed to vibrate. Then one shot, a single beam of light, the moon shattered in silence. Breaking into dust and fire, billions across the galaxy watched the broadcast, their hearts filled with terror, not because the ship destroyed a moon, but because it had done so with ease. With a fraction of its power, it was not war, it was a warning. On alien worlds, citizens screamed, rulers hid, soldiers clenched their weapons with trembling hands. The message was clear. Humanity had not returned weak. Humanity had returned with fire asterisk. The galaxy shaken. The destruction of the moon echoed louder than any battle cry. Across the galaxy, the images spread. The blast replayed on endless loops. Every channel, every world, every home saw it, the human dreadnought, silent and merciless, breaking a celestial body as if it were glass. And with it, the truth settled in the humans had returned. On the capital world of the Galactic Council, silence filled the grand chamber. Representatives of 100 species sat frozen, their eyes locked on the burning image of the shattered moon. None dared speak first. Finally, a scaled diplomat of the Valari hissed. One shot did this. A feathered envoy from the Eris clawed at his feathers nervously. That ship is not a relic. It is a god of war. Another slammed his fist on the table. We must unite. We must destroy it before it destroys us. But his words trembled, carrying no strength. For deep inside, every leader remembered the old history. The wars humanity fought, the victories no one understood, the empires that crumbled under human steel. This was no ghost. This was the nightmare made real. And nightmares could not be destroyed, they only spread. Meanwhile, on border colonies, chaos erupted. Citizens panicked, running to shelters though no invasion had begun. Markets crashed. Whispers of human vengeance filled the streets. Parents told their children to hide, as if hiding from shadows would save them. The galaxy was not at war, not yet, but it already felt conquered. On warships across empires, admirals met in secrecy. Some demanded fleets gather at once. Others argued it was suicide. Even 30 ships could not move against it. One commander growled, "What hope do we have?" More numbers, more firepower. Another insisted, though his voice cracked. They all knew the truth. Numbers meant nothing. The dreadnought was not a ship. It was a statement. And the statement was simple: humanity endures. Back on the dreadnought's bridge, Captain Elias Wren sat in silence, watching the stars. The destruction of the moon weighed heavy on him. Not joy, not pride, but sorrow. "I did not want this," he whispered, his voice rough. "But they must understand." The AI's voice replied calmly. "Message delivered, Captain. The galaxy trembles." Elias closed his eyes. Good. Then perhaps they will think before raising their guns. Yet, far away, not all thought of peace. On the hidden world of the Creel Dominion, warlords gathered in their dark halls. Their leader, armored and ruthless, snarled, "Fear is a weapon, but fear can be broken. We will build a fleet." Greater than theirs, we will tear the humans apart. His lieutenants nodded, but their eyes betrayed unease, for they too had seen the moon break apart. And no vow of vengeance erased that image. In contrast, smaller empires began to bend. Ambassadors sent desperate signals, pleading for talks, offering gifts, seeking peace before war even began. They remembered the cost of defying Earth in the Theon. Past, empires that had once mocked humanity now spoke in whispers of alliance, of surrender. The dreadnought had not fired on them, but its silence was louder than fire. Across the stars, religious orders awoke. Prophets declared the return of humanity as destiny. Some claimed humans were chosen guardians of the galaxy. Others claimed they were the punishment of the gods. Pilgrims gathered at temples, chanting in fear or worship. The dreadnought had become more than a ship. It was a symbol. On the council floor, panic turned to bitter arguments. Negotiate before they crush us. Strike before they gather more power. Hide our fleets. Protect our worlds. The voices clashed, but none found an answer. For there was only one truth no empire alone could stand. Elias Wren leaned forward in his chair, his tired eyes watching the endless dark. He knew what the galaxy was feeling. He had seen it before, 300 years ago, when his people fought to survive. Fear spread faster than truth, and fear made enemies desperate. But still, he whispered to the AI, "Prepare the crew pods, wake more of them. I cannot face this." Galaxy alone, the AI's lights flickered, obedient and loyal. Awakening sequence for remaining survivors initiated. In the cryo chamber, faint lights began to glow on the other pods. Fingers twitched, chests rose, one by one. The last guardians of humanity stirred. Their war was not finished, and the galaxy was about to learn what it meant to face humans once more. The final stand galaxy had reached its breaking point. For weeks, the dreadnought's shadow lingered. Silent but unstoppable, every empire knew that waiting meant doom. So at last, the council made its choice war. From every corner of the stars, fleets gathered, thousands of ships. Different designs, different colors, united by fear. It was the largest armada in history, a storm of metal and fire, forged for one purpose, to end the human warship before it ended them. On the dreadnought's bridge, Captain Elias Wren stood watching as his sensors lit up with contacts. His voice was calm, though his heart carried sorrow. "They have chosen death over peace," he murmured. The AI's voice replied, steady and cold. "Hostile fleet detected. Probability of their success 0.3%. Alias." Tightened his grip on the railing. That is still enough to drown the stars in blood. In the cryo chamber, more humans awoke. Soldiers blinking against the blinding light. They coughed, staggered, whispered questions. But when they saw Elias standing, they saluted, their old loyalty burning alive again. One soldier rasped, "Captain, what year is it?" Elias's voice was heavy. 3 centuries have passed, and the galaxy has forgotten who we are. It is time to remind them. The fleet surrounded the dreadnought, forming a net of firepower. Messages poured in from commanders, "Surrender your vessel. Deactivate weapons or be destroyed." But the dreadnought gave no reply. Its silence was louder than threats. Then the first shot came. A beam of energy from a Creel battleship cut across the void. It struck the dreadnought's shields, exploding in light. But when the light cleared, the human ship remained untouched. Not even a scar. The dreadnought moved, not fast, but deliberate. Its cannons roared, each shot erasing entire cruisers, each missile scattering fleets like insects. The galaxy's greatest armada broke apart in minutes. But the dreadnought did not chase victory. It fought with precision, striking only enough to cripple, to terrify, inside. Their ships, alien captains screamed, "Hold formation. Return fire." But their voices shook, their courage draining as ships fell like burning leaves. On the bridge, Elias clenched his teeth. "This is not conquest," he growled. "This is survival." His crew nodded, their human eyes burning with the same. Fire as their captain. For them, this was not just a battle. It was Earth's memory, a promise to the stars that humanity would never bow. The Coalition unleashed its last weapon, a massive fusion bomb, carried by a desperate strike force. They hurled it at the dreadnought, screaming in rage. The explosion lit the void, brighter than a sun. For a moment, the fleets cheered, thinking the monster was gone. But when the fire faded, the dreadnought emerged, scarred, burning, but alive, and worse, it was angry. Its voice thundered across every comm channel. "This is the final warning. Stand down, or you will not stand at all." The words shook empires, the sound of humanity itself reborn in steel. And fire. Yet still, some fleets fought on. They threw themselves at the dreadnought. Not with hope, but with desperation. And Elias knew this was the galaxy's final stand, not for victory, but for pride. He closed his eyes, whispering to his AI, "Prepare the last weapon." The AI hesitated. "If deployed, the result will be irreversible." Elias's voice was steady. "Do it." Deep within the dreadnought, hidden for centuries, a new system awoke. Not a cannon, not a bomb, but something far greater. A weapon designed not to kill, but to control. A wave of energy surged, spreading across space, invisible yet unstoppable. When it touched the alien, fleets, their ships went dark. Engines failed, weapons died, shields collapsed. Thousands of ships silenced in one heartbeat. The battlefield fell still. The galaxy's greatest armada floated powerless, trapped in the shadow of one human ship. And in that silence, the truth was clear: humanity did not return to destroy. They returned to remind. On his bridge, Elias spoke the words that would echo forever. "Earth endures, and the stars will remember." Asterisk. The trembling galaxy, the battlefield was silent. Once it had been a storm of fire, fleets clashing in endless light, weapons screaming across the void. But now, all that remained was silence. Thousands of alien warships drifted powerless, their engines dead, their weapons cold, their captains staring helplessly into the dark. At the center, the human dreadnought stood alone, its vast shadow swallowing the stars. It had not only survived, it had conquered without conquest. One wave of energy, one choice from its captain, had ended the galaxy's greatest armada without firing another shot. The galaxy had trembled before, but now it knelt in fear on the bridge. Captain Elias Wren rose from his chair, his body weak, but his spirit unbroken. He looked at the screens, at the countless disabled fleets drifting like husks. His voice was low, but it carried the weight of centuries. "They wanted a war. We gave them a reminder." The AI's voice answered, calm and proud. "They are listening now." "Captain, the galaxy trembles." Elias opened a channel, broadcasting across every system. His face, scarred but human, filled the comms of billions. His voice echoed into every council chamber, every throne room, every home. "I am Captain Elias Wren of Earth. I speak for humanity. We were silent, we were forgotten, but we were never gone." The words rippled through the stars like thunder. On alien worlds, citizens froze, their leaders. Pale and trembling, Elias's eyes hardened, his voice unshaken. "Know this Earth lives, and we endure. Do not test us again. For the next war will not end in warnings. It will end in silence." The message burned into history. The dreadnought's cannons shifted, not firing, only reminding. Every empire knew what they meant. Humanity had chosen mercy this day. But mercy was not weakness. It was power restrained. In the council chamber, no one dared speak. The Valari delegate whispered, "We cannot fight them. We can only survive them." The Aris envoy lowered his head, feathers falling. "The humans have returned." and the galaxy will never be the same. The chamber, once filled with shouting, now held only silence. The silence of fear, far away, small empires rush to. Send envoys, pleading for peace. Warlords who once mocked humanity swore loyalty instead. Religions reshape their prophecies, declaring humans the chosen, the bringers of balance or destruction. In every corner of the stars, the dreadnought became more than a weapon. It became a symbol. On the bridge, Elias looked at the glowing cryopods, where more of his crew slowly stirred back to life. He whispered, "Wake, my brothers and sisters. The galaxy remembers us now. But our work is not finished." The AI hummed in reply. "What is our purpose now, Captain?" Elias closed his eyes, the weight of 3 centuries pressing on him. "Our purpose is the same as it always was. Humanity must endure. Whatever the cost." The dreadnought slowly turned, leaving the shattered fleets behind. It did not need to stay. It did not need to fight further. Its message was written in fear, carved into the hearts of every living soul. The galaxy would never forget this day. As the ship drifted into the stars, its voice rang one final time. Earth lives, humanity endures. And then silence. But it was not the silence of absence. It was the silence of dominance. The silence of a galaxy that would forever tremble at the shadow of humanity. Asterisk.